right. Hey, my name is Rafael. I'm with American Homebrew Supply, and today we're going to be talking about the Triple Scale Hydrometer. This is a really important tool in beer, wine, and cider making, and it's really important that you know what it does and how to use it. Okay, so starting with the fact that it's called a Triple Scale Hydrometer, it means that it has 3 scales. All right, it's going to have the specific gravity, which is the 1.000 in numbers scale going up. It's going to have the Brix scale. It's pretty much the same. It's preferred in winemaking and in Europe. It's kind of like the metric system. It tells you the same thing, but don't worry about it. We're mostly going to ignore it. The last scale is the approximate potential alcohol, which is kind of self-explanatory. All right, so we're going to go over these 3, and we're going to show you what this hydrometer does so that you understand what goes into your beer. All right, this is plain water. All right, so when I drop my hydrometer into it, it should float at 1.00. Let's see, let's get a close-up up here. At 1.00. Now, if we were to rotate the hydrometer just a little bit so that we're looking at the approximate potential alcohol, plain water has a potential alcohol of 0. So that's what it's telling us. All right, so clean water at room temperature 1.00, and it has a potential alcohol of 0. All right, I have a little bit of sugar water right here. I dissolved about an ounce of sugar in 8 ounces of water. All right, you can plainly see that it's floating higher or lower, depending on how you're looking at it, than the 1.00 for water. That's because we've included sugar on it. So the density is higher, which means that the hydrometer floats just a little bit higher. Let's see if we can make sure that we see the 1040. That would be 1.040. And if you were to spin it around to the alcohol potential, it shows that it's at 5, meaning that it has a potential alcohol of 5%. Meaning that if we were to add yeast and the yeast consumed all of the sugar, it would have 5% alcohol by volume. All right. Now I have a little bit of finished wine here. So what we would do is we would start with a sugar solution. We would start with a sugar, whether it's wort, whether it's must, whether it's your cider, is basically water plus sugar. So it would start at a higher rating. Then we would add the sugar. The sugars would consume the yeast. And then on something like our finished wine, you can see that now the finished wine is actually sitting below 1.000. That's because there's alcohol in the solution, and alcohol is less dense. So it's going to allow the hydrometer to float a little lower. Okay? Do you see that? All right. The easiest way to determine your alcohol content in your beer or in your wine or in your cider is on the approximate potential alcohol scale. Record your original gravity wherever it's sitting the day that you make it. That's your OG, your original gravity. Okay? The day that you finish your wine, you want to take another reading. It should be at 1.0 or below. That means that all of the sugars were consumed. Beer usually has a little bit of maltiness in it, so beer usually finishes a little bit above 1.0. This particular hydrometer happens to be color coordinated, which is really nice, but just so you know, okay? Now, when our wine finishes below the level of water, that's what we call a dry wine, because it's below water. All right, so that's basically your hydrometer. What it's actually telling you is how much sugar you're working with, and by determining how much sugar there's present, how much sugar there's left, you're able to answer a whole host of questions regarding your beer and your wine. So keep it in mind, next time that you have any questions about your wine, it most likely can be answered by taking a gravity reading. Take some notes, keep it in mind, keep things clean, and know how to use this bad boy. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, all right? American Homebrew Supply. See you next time.